morning. It is morning huddle time.
Good morning. It is morning huddle time. I'm Chad Prinky here alongside Stacy Holzinger, as always.
The nature of the beast is the competitive nature of the industry.
Is if you can see it, you can be it.
It's all about the people. The people are what make it great and worthwhile.
Yeah, anything that I think helps build the story behind the company is great.
These are the things that that you're like, we don't need that because we have plenty of work right now. Got it. But if you don't do it now, where are you going to have work in the future? Good morning. Let me get this turned into our thank you to our sponsors. The Morning Huddle Construction Show is fortunate to have 5 sponsors for Season 7, helping us to spread the word and create positive change in the construction industry. And we want to give a shout out to each of them and thank them now. First is Katz Abosch. This is a middle market accounting firm with a deep specialization in construction, tax, audit, accounting, fantastic group of people. Next is Lawrence Law. This is a boutique law firm that works with contractors and helps them with their day-to-day legal needs as well as all of their most significant legal challenges that they might run up against. Lawrence Law. And we have Sandy Spring Bank, which is a regional bank in Maryland, with a group of people who really understand what the needs of construction businesses are and who partner with you to achieve your financial aims. So Sandy Spring Bank. And then we have Marsh McLennan Agency, bonding and insurance professionals who really just have unparalleled insight into the construction industry. They're the best in the business. And then lastly, we have Genesis AEC. And Genesis is a full service architecture, engineering, and construction management firm with a deep specialization in the life sciences industry. We also happen to have some of their folks help us with guest hosting from time to time. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Let's get back to the show. It is morning huddle time. Stacy, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. I've been having a busy couple weeks because I started my Goldman Sachs 10K small business program, which is so cool. So I'm working on my biz instead of in my biz.
Well, yeah, I mean, and then in your biz, but then on your biz. Yeah, I know it's you have to be able to wear both hats as the CEO. What's the coolest thing you've learned so far?
Oh man. So we're working on, it's about 100-page growth opportunity that will complete at the end. And last week and this week, we've done financial metrics, which is my least favorite, just because I'm a creative person. So numbers is not my thing. But I'll be speaking to a big group of skilled trades professionals. That's one big opportunity that I got out of it in November. So just the advisors that come on are so incredibly smart. So there's so much value. And then the panel of, because this program has been around for, I think, 22 years. And it's nationwide, and I'm in the Baltimore chapter. So it's so cool. I love it so much.
I mean, I'm kind of having a little FOMO, to be honest, about it. I'm trying to figure out if it's something I need to apply for.
Yeah. You would get so much out of it. Anybody, I think you have to be in business for at least 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah. We made it, Stace. We're 3 years in.
Oh, I know. Crazy times.
Oh, good.
What have you been up to?
I've been leading full day and half day and 2-day retreats, just one after the next. This time of year, it's awesome working with our clients, helping them to get ready for 2025, do some lessons learned from 2024. Diving into market research and all the markets that they service and all that kind of stuff. It's been a really, really rewarding time. Working with our clients through. So it's especially fun with the ones that we've been working with for years, right? And watching them having taken so many next steps and grown, doubled and tripled over the time that we've been working with them. It's a lot of fun. So, but it is a ton of travel. it's an absolute ton of travel. Yeah, this time of year is a lot of travel, but it's all part of it. There's only so much you can do virtually.
Yeah, gotta meet face to face.
Well, this program that you're doing is face to face, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been in programs similar where it was virtual, and I don't feel like we got that much out of it compared to this is a lot of interaction.
Well,
So
it's just so much more passive, and it's the same thing. You know, we do our boot camps every quarter, right? And when we do our quarterly boot camps, they are in-person events. People come in from all over the country to participate in the events and all that kind of stuff, and it's for a reason. You know, that we do it in person. It's just so much better than what it would be if we were, you know, hosting virtually. So, it can be really difficult to force yourself to take time out of your business, doing the
yes,
work
that's a
of your
struggle.
business on a regular basis. And when you try to do that in a virtual setting, it's almost always like too big of a temptation for people,
Yeah,
right? Like they're going to multitask. They
yeah,
just
no
can't,
way. Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's hard. I wish it wasn't the case because you know flying sucks, but it is the case.
Yeah.
So we have an exciting guest on today. I'm fired up about this topic. It's right in my wheelhouse of compensation structures and company culture and how all those things kind of how one influences the other. So we're bringing on Michael Fortenberry. Michael is the president and CEO of Protiv. He is co-founder and COO. My bad, of Protiv. And Protiv is a Contech company. But I'll let Michael introduce himself. But Michael's got experience for many, many years in construction and in technology, and the intersection of construction and technology. And he and I feel very passionately about a lot of the same issues. So we were pretty fired up about the opportunity to talk. So, Michael, thank you so much.
Stacy, Chad, good morning. Good to see you both. Listening in on your conversation about the virtual meetings, I just had a chance to listen to Zuckerberg and Rogan's podcast, where Zuckerberg specifically talked about, you know, what is virtual reality, what is augmented reality, and what's Meta working on. And his thesis is that the closing of the gap between the Zoom call, this two-dimensional conversation, and the in presence, you know, human to human, kind of can see you, talk to you thing is almost the defining goal of what they're working on. Like it's the
Yeah,
thing.
how do we do that virtually?
Yeah, it's so impactful to human growth, you know. And if you think about what most of great technology evolutions, whether it was, you know, ships that crossed oceans and trains that crossed continents, cars that, you know, ran between cities faster, airplanes that got us there quicker, it's all about getting people together faster. And if you think about the instantaneous nature of what real AI might look like 10 years from now, 20 years from now, we might actually just make those things instant. The things that used to take 6 months to go around the, you know, tip of South America to get to
I'm
San
in.
Francisco is now instantaneous. And if you look at, really, they are the biggest evolutions in human connectivity come on the backs of those things. It's powerful stuff. And what you're tapping into with the conversation you're having, you know, the disconnect that we still get, despite how cool Zoom is, and, you know, we can do these calls like this, it's still not in person.
It's not, you know, and there is a lot to be desired. It leaves a lot to be desired. But I am all for it, man. You know, I am all for the ability to feel connected without having to leave the house. You know, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. Because the human side is the critical side, right? It's the connection with us to our crews and our workers in the field,
Yeah.
to our friends and family. It's how do we truly connect with them, communicate well with them, you know,
Be
be on
fully
the same
present,
page,
all those
you
things.
know, all those things. Yeah, that is.
Yeah, though, you know, if we're going to be fully present, we should also put our devices away. That's a whole other deal. Just being in person doesn't mean that the person's really there. You know, that's another topic for another day. So, Michael, let's talk. I obviously I gave a brief introduction, but maybe just add on to that in terms of who you are, what you do, and give some context for our audience on that.
Yeah. So, got a construction company here in New York City, and in the course of building that company, we started that about 7 years ago, I guess now, 8 years. We faced a lot of the challenges a lot of other contractors faced, and we started building some tools internally to solve some problems that we had around, let's call it alignment between us and our crews about what they wanted versus what we wanted.
Yeah.
And as we strove to build a great culture, we were growing quite a bit. We've like about 120, 130 people in the field now. And that required more and more systems and tools. And our thesis was if I could better connect what they wanted, which is make more money, and what we needed, which was quality, attention to detail, teamwork, communication, production, et cetera. If I could connect those things together, we could scale easier and make my clients happier because they could deliver more on time, be more price competitive against smaller companies that could kind of nickel and dime on things. So I needed to check a lot of boxes really well, and I needed my team to feel the same way. So we started iterating on a performance pay model, but we had to build software for it because we grew. And that's what turned into the company we have today, Protiv, which we spun out of our construction company about 2.5 years ago. But I speak construction, I speak actually pretty good on real estate, and I certainly know technology at this point.
Yeah, it's cool. Like I say, so varied experience. Currently still running that construction company in New York?
I still have my little piece of it. We had 4 of us that started the company.
Cool.
2 of the partners stayed there. David and I came over to start Protiv, and then we actually JV'd with a much bigger contracting company called Empire that is now our kind of the parent entity around our company. So
cool.
Allowed us to grow. We started moving into more prevailing wage work, and frankly, it really helped with the cash flow associated with some of that, and really gave us some new tools to grow further. So.
Great. Okay, so what you've been doing is innovating on compensation.
Yeah.
And you've been doing it in the spirit of alignment and driving a certain type of behavior. When I think about a culture, which is, I know that at the heart of what you and I are both so passionate about, your culture is really nothing more than how you consistently behave as an organization, right? It's like all I have to do is just observe how you act. I can see your culture in action. You have one right now, whether you want to or not, right? Whether you're being intentional about it or not, you have a company culture.
My dad was authoritarian in his leadership style, right? And he was an electrician, so when his company culture, I mean, wasn't very big companies, but he certainly had a culture to it, and it's your company's personality. A lot of people don't even know what it means. Like, just who are you as a company? If you had to step back and label it somehow, what's your company's personality? What's your leadership style? How's all that wrapped together into who you are, how you behave as an entity?
That's right.
At all times. Yeah.
That's right. So most companies, I mean, everybody wants to have a good company culture. Who wouldn't want to have a good company culture? I'm going to throw good in quotations up here, right? Good. What does good even mean? What's a good personality? Hard to know, right? Like what's a good personality? What are the defining characteristics? I think one of the things that I observe in my work with many construction companies is that very few of them are doing this intentionally. They just kind of are who they are. And that comes with all the good, the bad, and the ugly associated with that. And so when you get into that culture, you can see culture problems. Why, in your experience with construction companies, why is shaping a company culture so important?
Well, the most solid predictor of a company's long-term financial performance is company culture. This has been studied. I mean, this is business school, grad school stuff. If you dig into what drives long-term company success, there's really 2 things in construction, my humble opinion. One is mastery of your numbers.
Yep.
You don't have your numbers under control, frankly, you have a great company culture and you're going to be train wreck.
It's the first chapter in my book, man. Yeah.
Coincidentally, right? Which I have right here, which is copy.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So And it was great right out of the gate. I was like telling my wife last night, this is good stuff, right? I can relate to this. So I think at the first and foremost, you need to have your numbers under control, and that encompasses, that's a very simplistic statement to a lot of things. But the second is you need to have strong company culture. If you combine those two and you get a lot of other things wrong, you'll probably still win. There's know your numbers and say the word company culture in a sentence on some type of a regular basis, and you've got a really good chance to be a great company. So, and it's funny because you said something a minute ago I liked, which is it's, you just accidentally have a company culture. It's just based on who you are. The funny thing is you could also get in trouble going the other way, which is you say, well, we're going to have a company culture where we care about our people, or we're customer first, or whatever. But if it's not who you are, you're inauthentic, and you've already started to fail right out of the gate. And I talk a lot about authenticity in culture. You need to be authentic. You need to be genuine to who you are. And I'll give you a great example. If it's most important to you that we finish the job on time to take care of our customer, it's just this driving thing. If Bob's got a softball game with his daughter, Bob knows that in this company, I stay at work and I finish and I get to that game when I can.
That's right.
The other side is says, you know what, we care about our people, and we're gonna. It's okay. We're gonna finish this job tomorrow, and you get to your daughter's softball game. I'm actually not telling you which is better. But whatever lane you pick, it better be true to who you are, because it will come out in the end. So pick a direction and be authentic to who you are and what kind of culture you're trying to build, because that's the only thing sustainable.
I love it. I think that's right. One of the things I'll for fun, I'll indulge this topic when we help our clients to decide on their company culture. What we are trying to do is strike the balance between being authentic and true to who you really are, comma, while representing who you are when you're at your best.
Aspirational.
Right. It's that. And so we always get that question, right? It's like, so are we just making a list of who we are, or are we making a list of who we want to be? And I'm like, well, it's kind of both. It's who you want to be. It's who you are when you're at your best. That's what you really want to, get out there. And you're right. Like, look, I don't think in company A, in your example, it's not that they say, Bob, screw your daughter's softball game.
No, that's not the message.
That's not the message. The message is, hey, we have priorities here, right? And in this particular case, nothing comes before finishing on time, period. That's something that we stand by. So Bob has to make a difficult decision and, either live the values or not in that circumstance, right? And if he doesn't live those values, Bob might not be a fit. That's culture. And if we allow Bob to go to the softball game, miss the timeline, and say, hey, we get it, you had a softball game, you erode your culture when you do that.
I think so we always kind of start with that idea of authenticity, but then there's next is like, how do you put your people into this equation, and how do I put my people first? And that's a broad concept, right? Of people first it's more than just platitudes. It's, do you actually know your people? Do you know their families? Do you get involved with them? Because you're asking them to contribute of themselves to who you are as a company. What are you contributing to them besides a paycheck? Which is a relatively simplistic. They can get a paycheck a lot of places. What else are you doing that allows them to feel that you're committed to them in the way that you're asking them to be committed to you? I want you to pay attention to detail. I want you to work well as a team and communicate well. I want you to do more. I want you to get better. Well, my paycheck doesn't automatically get better if I just do those things. I'm a good carpenter. I'm a good concrete guy, but that's, here's my set of skills that you're paying me for. And how do I get you to want to do more than just give me your skill set?
Which is a perfect lead in to what are the levers that we pull to get people to give us what we're looking for in business, and enter compensation. So one of the things that I'll lay this out a little bit, Michael, that I've wrestled with for years, and sometimes successfully, and sometimes I got pinned. But is helping our clients to establish merit-based compensation structures that that really do work in every facet of their business. And one of the things that I love about 1099 labor is the ability to just pay per sheet or per X, right? Per unit, per, and the idea is, look, I'm paying that. And if you happen to get it done super fast, you might get paid $120 an hour.
Yep.
And if you, right, and as long as you maintain certain standards, which is hard to hold subcontractors accountable to, which I'm going to circle back to. But I love that you can do this piecework comp model, because I think it's merit based, and it's like, look, the people who hang slow are going to go slow, are going to get paid less. The people who hang fast are going to get paid more. It obviously leaves a lot to be desired in the areas of quality, and the areas of safety, and the areas, right, like all those types of things. So striking a balance there, and like, how do I hold them accountable? Oh crap, they have to be employees. And so I hate 1099 labor. I don't think it's a good thing. I think it's corrosive to the industry. But gosh, I love the idea of paying people piece rate. Like I love that, that concept. So you've been wrestling with this at the same time. I'd love to hear what compensation structures for field staff, self-perform field staff, you've found work to tie together to company culture goals such as safety and quality and productivity.
Yeah, we have been the description you just gave was the problem we set out to solve, and we think that we have solved it. And we get so interesting because we get better at it all the time because we bring in new contractors with different kind of trades and approaches to business. But at its most fundamental level, connecting the labor budget, which is the primary element that the crew in the field controls. The labor budget encompasses the initial cost, and if they have rework, then it's that cost too. So we're looking at quality as well. And connecting that in a way that the crew understands the goal, and that they can, very transparent way, can see what's in it for them for beating that goal. And that's what we set out to solve in our own company. And it started off the most simplistic thing. I had carpenters that were taking about 10 hours to get these cabinets installed, multi-family renovation work. And I really needed it done in one day, in 8 hours. Like, if you guys could get in and get these cabinets in, I wasn't even the $40 an hour and the 10 hours and the $400 I'm okay with. It was more the schedule. And I need it done right the first time. I can't, the rework is killing me.
Yeah, rework is a nightmare. There's no, yeah.
It is brutal. So if you guys can do the job right the first time and finish it ahead of time, I'll give you the whole $400.
Yep.
I'll just give it to you as a bonus, right? Because they're still employees, which if you're using if you're listening out there and using 1099 subcontractors, you just need to stop. I mean, you're flirting with disaster every single day. One of the fastest growing channels of the legal industry is suing contractors who are using 1099s. You're going to lose in court, and it's not a California, New York problem. Texas is the fastest growing state for suits.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I mean, you think these attorneys general don't get together and share notes?
Yeah, that's the misconception. A lot of people think it's the attorney generals that's coming after you. It's not. It's not. That's not who's going to call you. It's not the state. It's one of your employees who gets pissed off, leaves, and finds a lawyer, an employment lawyer, who then grabs a class action against your team, and they'll pull every employee you've had for the last 3 years.
Yeah,
and they'll put that into a class, and you will lose. You lose by default. You lose 100% of the time because the law.
It's not worth messing with. This 1099 thing is absolutely not worth messing with, and we could get into it. It's a very dangerous turf for me because I could do 5 episodes of an hour long each on wage theft and 1099. So, but the point is, bringing it back to it, Michael, you're saying, like, look, you can't 1099. No. You've got a W-2. It's the right thing to do. These people have to be your employees. But how do I incentivize my employee? How do I say, hey man, I need you to be all the way done today. So that $400. I'm going to give you all of that today if you get this done in a non-piecework way. And what in what you've identified is this ability to create a bonus structure.
Yeah. So what we started doing was, if they got it done faster, we took the difference between the budget and what they actually spent, and then we shared, frankly, most of that with the workers, so they could earn the difference between what we thought we were going to spend, which I was happy with. If I just got to my labor budget, which I expect most of the listeners are the same way, if we just could hit my labor budget,
just hit the budget,
the biggest variable cost, I'm generally good on that job. So I'm willing to give most or all or a big chunk of that to the crew if they can bring that job in on time, under budget, and do it correctly, do it safely, do it correctly, all those parts. So what we found is that there was a couple of keys to making this work. One is the process you're doing this has to be simple. If it's complicated, the crew doesn't understand it, and you put too many things around it, and all of a sudden then it's not clear, and they don't change their behavior. I want to back one level. The goal here of an incentive program is to change worker behavior. It's not to pay a bonus. The bonus is the outcome from the behavior.
Yeah, if we're successful in changing behavior.
Yes. I want you to communicate better. I want you to work differently. I want you to be a team. I want you to pay attention to detail. I want you to be productive, be efficient. That's what I want. And I'm willing to pay you a bonus for doing those things. Behavior change comes first. That's why we believe this approach works so well, is that you connect those two things together. So if I can get you to do that, the other part that's critical is it has to be transparent. You have to show the crew the labor budget. They have to see it. We show it to them on the phone through our app. It's like they can see how many hours they have. They can see how many dollars they have as a team. And they can set their own goals. Let the crew go out and say, all right, this is 200 hours. We think we can do it in 180. If we finish it in 180, how much do I get as a worker? Calculate it for me. Tell me I get $100. I get $50. I get whatever. Then I can know what's in this for me. And I can see it. It's transparent. It's obvious. Now, this is the magic thing that happens, is that the minute that they see that I have this money that can be mine, I have this tool. I usually leave it at home, and I bring it to work with me every day called my brain. And it's funny because when you hire someone for their back, you get a free brain, and it's like comes with every employee. And it's the best thing ever. But now some of these brains work better than others, but as a whole, it is an amazing tool that they will come in with ideas.
Yeah.
They'll come in with, hey, Bob, you need to do that right. Because if you don't, we're gonna have to come fix it.
What if we phase the job in this way? What if I work over here while you work over here, and then we finish together in the same spot, and blah blah blah, right? That way none of us are standing around.
Yeah, all three of us really need to go to Home Depot. No,
right?
So it's because right now it's not their money. You want to make the labor budget their money in their head, because then they will treat it different. Because
I love this.
They don't care about your money. They care about their own money.
Stacy, thoughts, questions?
No, I just think, just the concept of holding them accountable and putting the dollars towards it. And, it all makes sense.
It does. And so, okay. Now I have to, Michael, this is something I've tried to do. It really is. Like, I have personally tried to do it. I'll be really honest. The furthest I've ever been able to take this with my client companies, and I can count them really on one hand, the amount that have had their numbers tight enough, and their tracking and their technology for tracking effective enough that on one hand, I can count the number where we've been able to install project by project field and foreman bonus programs.
Sure.
That kind of, and I always call it like a bonus bank, and essentially these guys build up a bank over the course of X time period, and then we pay out of the bank depending maybe quarterly or something like that, and they get these the higher frequency the bonus, the better, I've found, right? Like, people like to see money right away. Delayed gratification doesn't work great. Michael, how do we do this? How do we make this happen?
Were you using Excel to do that?
We were. Are you making fun of me? No.
So, because if you were using Excel to do it, I'm not surprised it didn't work.
Right. It's hard.
It takes software. And it was shocking to us when we started to grow. we originally had this in Excel, and it was a pain. Like,
so I was going to say, like, how did it start and where is it now? Like,
yeah, it started off in Excel, and then it was a
Yep.
Google sheet, and it just kind of evolved. But as we grew, you get from 30, 40, 50, 60 people, especially now you get multiple trades, multiple wage rates, jobs that last multiple pay periods. Who gets paid how much once we're successful?
Yep.
So the minute that if I'm just paying Bob $400 to paint the apartment, and that's just a one person, one number thing, okay, fine. That's easy. What if when you got 35 people working on a project for 4 months? This is a wholly different set of challenges to accurately track who earns how much. Because
Right.
at the end, I've saved this dollar. How do I prorate what everybody gets? And that's where it took software to do that. And so we built software that we integrated to our time tracking into essentially our job costing structures, so that I know on one side I've got a budget of 100 hours. I know on the other side I've had 5 people clock in for 20 hours each, so that I can track exactly what is owed to each worker. And so we can prorate it, adjust it based on wage rates. And importantly, there's a legal part to this, which is what's called OT differential, which is because these are non-discretionary bonuses, you do have to adjust their base wage when they work overtime based on the non-discretionary bonus payment amounts. And not doing that in a legally compliant way will get you in trouble. So we've solved for that as well with software. So it took code. It took a platform and an app to solve for this, but it's actually really simple once that's in place.
Yeah, it's really not a complicated thought. It's just a huge pain in the butt to actually pull off, given all the disparate tools that we may be using today to gather this information. So I've got
It's going to be done in Excel. That's what everybody felt. That most of our clients who had a pay for performance model in Excel, they see what we built and there's like, changes the world, because they immediately solve all the problems they have with doing this in Excel. So the crews get to see it in the field, which is a big part of what allows them to.
Yeah, it's got to be simple and visible. Yes, yeah. You got to be able to show them very hard numbers, and you got to be able to say, guys, on this job, the total labor budget is X. Anything you guys are able to create in savings, you're going to get in terms of bonus, so that we can move you to the next project.
They see the number. If you just say that to them, they still don't understand. It's when they see the dollar amount.
Yeah.
It's such a transformational moment. Like, I see the $500 that our team gets this week. Let's get it. Let's go get that done. I would say a lot of people think that the challenge is connecting the pieces together or the quality issues that we actually have solved for that. Those are not really the challenges to doing this anymore. The part that surprises people is that it's hard culturally. And if you're not ready for the culture change that comes along with performance pay, you can fail at it, even if you get the other parts right. You have to understand that if you have 20 people in the field, you're going to have 3 or 4 people that hate this.
Yeah.
They're probably going to quit. They won't like the peer pressure that comes with it. You're going to have 6 or 7 people that think this is the greatest thing they have ever seen in their life. And because they're so driven, but they're successful people. They now have some control over what they're going to earn, and that just unlocks this whole new gear. And you get this group in the middle that kind of gets pulled along with the group at the top. But there is conflict that gets generated. You have to be ready for that. We coach to this, that when you start something like this, there are going to be people who are not happy in your team because they get accountability is a little brutal.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no hiding from the truth. That's
because everybody knows Bob is slow, but they don't really care because it's not their money. Once it's their money, instead of having 3 supervisors that get on to Bob, now I've got his peers, 17 peers that get on to Bob. Like, that's they say stuff to each other that we're not allowed to say to them. So it's their peer pressure actually becomes an interesting thing you have to deal with. The other is if you have procurement problems or estimating problems or anything like that you're not executing well in other parts of your business. Like, if you can't estimate well and you're all over the map, your team gets frustrated because they can't really get to the numbers that you put down on paper. The other part is if their materials are not there on time, right? They're on the phone calling you saying, Chad, what are you doing?
They're not standing around smoking cigarettes, chilling out.
You're costing us money. And that frustration, look, that's real. And because right now they don't care, they're going to care. So how are you ready for that as a company? And so we talk often with our clients that you have to be ready for a culture of performance pay. It's a big deal when you launch this. Like you launch
No,
it
I agree.
in a big splash. We're all in this together now. The company does better, you guys do better. We're all in it together. If we don't order the right materials and the job gets behind, none of us make as much money.
Yep.
If Bob is slow, none of us make as much money. We've got to be in this together, and that's the cultural alignment that we like to see.
Well, so I'm obviously 100% there. I believe in that fundamentally, and I think that the whole organization being in the same boat, it really invites everybody to think like an owner and to be focused on driving the target outcome together. So what I have found is that in most self-performed contractors, you see a kind of cycle, and I can hear voices of friends and clients who might be worrying about this type of thing, and one worry might be, well, what happens currently if I kill it on labor budget,
Yep.
we win. And as a company, like, I don't want to give up all those profits that we were able to create through running a really tight project. What would you say to those people?
Behind on another job, right? Yeah. So what we do is we blend the jobs together. Well, first of all, I'm going to challenge out there. How many of you guys out there how often do you actually crush it on a job?
Right.
The reality is the problem we actually have as an industry is not that sometimes we crush it, it's that most of the time we're tight.
Yeah.
So we're solving for the core problem we actually all face, which is most of the time I need my crews to bring this job in a little bit quicker because we're behind. And that's more likely the problem. But what our software lets you do is to blend your jobs together so that if the crew gets way ahead on one, but they're behind on two others, that the net bonus that they're paid out, with you pay it monthly or whenever, is the combination of how they did across those projects.
Yeah.
You can also again share the savings with the crew. So you can say, if you really do beat your budget quite a bit, then maybe you're saying, look, we're going to pay 50% of the savings to our crew, and 50% of it's retained by the company is labor cost reduction. So far, and we've got a lot of different trades on this, from big union electricians to small mom and pop landscapers, companies with, landscaper coming on now. We've got 2,000 people. We've got little painting companies. It doesn't really matter the trade. I've got hourly team in the field. I want them to be productive. Our average wage rate is increased for the workers, $8 an hour, just over $8 an hour. And our labor costs are flat to down at the same time. So if I'm dropping my labor cost as a number on my P&L, and my workers are making more money, it's all in the back of the productivity lift. That's transformational. And it varies a bit by trade. We're seeing, painting companies and landscaping companies are getting 20-25% productivity lift. We're seeing electricians, or plumbers, more, HVAC, more technical side, 8, 10, 12% productivity lifts. It's not every trade is the same, but we're seeing it consistently. It goes up, and consistently the crews like it. Your guys are going to like this. They're, by and large,
your A players are going to like it. Yeah, and the A players appreciate the accountability aspect of it, and I would just say your company is probably going to have the discipline to demand a performance out of people once you implement this, because if you've got people who are costing everybody else bonus money, they're going to reject these folks.
The software will tell you what bonus percentage everybody's at, right? Are they earning 1% bonuses, 15% bonus, whatever. So if someone is at 1 or 0, basically there's a good chance you're paying them more than they produce.
Yeah.
Right. And what are we doing here? I mean, if you're sitting as here, if you never make a bonus, you need to let that person go. If you can't retrain and coach them up to a different level, they cost you money every time they go to the job site.
Can we get into a little bit of blocking and tackling, Michael, like in a minute or two max? Just like how does it? Do you plug into other to time tracking softwares, to accounting softwares? Like, how does the product?
Yeah, so from Procores and QuickBooks Time and systems like Service Titan, it depends on what trade you're in. There's a lot of different platforms,
there are.
lots of different trades, but we're integrated to most of the major platforms that most
Okay.
listeners probably use. So some cases we're pulling your budget from one place, your actual forecast, and sometimes we're pulling your time. Sometimes they're in the same system. Either way is fine with us. We just need to know what was that budget and what did you actually use, and we're pulling that real-time clocking out data multiple times through the day, so the crew can kind of see in real time how they're doing. If you're doing lawns, like a lawn care or cleaning company, we do lots of small jobs in each day. We usually group that together in a route for the week and kind of track their performance against the week. If you're doing a 1 year long, commercial electrical project, then we're usually doing that in milestones and phases or levels, units. It depends on how they're.
So the answer is it integrates with the time tracking, and you're pulling data about the budget from somewhere, and it probably doesn't need then to integrate with accounting, if I'm hearing it right.
We don't actually have to integrate to accounting.
It just tells you, here's what you need to include in such and such as bonus. Next question: what's the frequency of bonus that you recommend? Given that you have kind of this, you're using the same thing I would use, which is a bonus bank, and it's across all the jobs that you're on. And maybe you're 500 ahead on this one, you're flat on this one, you're $200 behind on this one. You got a bonus bank of $300.
I think
how often do we pay it?
Depends on the cycle time of your jobs, but more frequent is better, because you want the muscle memory from, I changed my behavior, I did this, so I'm getting this additional money. So even on long-term jobs where I may want to be partial bonuses along the way, because we have a reserve structure as well. Say, look, you guys are way ahead in phase one. I'm going to pay 25% of the bonuses out now. I'm going to reserve the rest in case you get behind later. That way you can pay some bonuses maybe monthly. We have clients that pay bonuses every week. It depends on the night.
Frequency is great. I'm sure it depends on the trade, right? If I'm doing power washing or something like that, I can do it every week.
Yep. I pay some of the bonuses up front, and I can also retain part of it and pay it later, maybe as a quarterly bonus, maybe even based on different KPIs or targets that I have. Everybody's got to wear a blue shirt, no call, no shows. You can have other policy things wrapped around the bonuses as well.
Michael, this has been a great conversation. We're getting to where we need to bring it to a close. How would people learn more from you? How do they get in touch?
Protiv.com is our website, and Michael@Protiv.com is my direct email. If they just want to message me, I'm happy to chat with folks about what we've seen work, where this can be implemented. Love talking about it. If someone just wants to figure out, their company culture and just likes to talk about that, certainly willing to do that as well. So, because that's really where this thing begins and ends, is around the culture of the company and your alignment and partnership with your workers.
Yeah.
Agreed. Awesome. Do we have any questions for Michael that you want to funnel his way, Stace?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Awesome. Thank you
I
so much.
recommend anybody out there listening, if you haven't read it already, I'm sure Chad touts his book, but I just started into it. Big fan already.
Thanks, Michael. That's kind of it. Thank you. I love what you're doing, man. It's exciting stuff. I definitely I see us doing some collaboration on some real world cases here in the near future. Definitely have some real world applications that I think we can dive into.
Well, thank you both very much.
Have a good one.
Michael. See ya. Stacy, I love that topic.
I know you do.
It's so fun. It's like, have
you seen the software? Does it start with a dashboard that you log into?
I have not, other than just seeing it on the website and screenshots and stuff like that they've said. I have not seen the software. I'm going to dig deeper into it, but just philosophically, even if the product is not 100% yet, I don't know if it is, it probably is, but even if it weren't, this is definitely heading down the right path. Like this idea of being able to take hourly employees and think about that, Stacy. If I'm hourly and that's all how I get paid, exactly what Michael was talking about, that it's everybody runs out to Home Depot. Sounds great. We can drag this job out for 4 days. Perfect. I'd rather I'm going to make this thing last as long as I can possibly make it last if I'm getting paid hourly, because who knows when the next job's coming, right? And so there's this push pull between management and employees that really doesn't need to be there.
Mhm.
Managers are like, get off the job. And employees are like, where are you sending me next? You know, do you have
Right.
enough work?
Yeah.
And if at the end of the day, I know I'm getting paid for what the budget on the job is one way or the other, and the company is healthier and happier if we're able to move me to the next one as quick as possible, that's the win. But Michael's 100% right that your culture has to be set up for that. You can't just flip a switch. You can't just flip a switch and decide to do it. Because if your managers aren't bought into that, it could be a very quick backfire.
Yeah, I see the transparency trend really taking off in the past couple years. And when I interview people on Chat CTE, we talk about compensation a lot. And there was one employer that did implement this production performance type goal,
Yeah.
and that seemed like a hot topic discussion. So
It is performance-based pay. And look, like I'm a fan of it wherever you can possibly implement it, anywhere you can possibly implement it. I think every person on your team has the ability to bring tangible value to the company. Otherwise they wouldn't be there. And the people who are better should be paid more. What the hell are we doing? This is America. So anyway, all right. Well, Stacy, what do we have coming up next week?
So we have the Sosa brothers joining us. They're going to talk to us just a beginner Chat GPT, like what we should be using it for. I know it's
Cool.
been out for quite a while, but there's still a lot of people that haven't jumped on it and don't know how you can utilize it. And I went on a brief training with them probably a year ago, and I thought they described it and had a lot of good examples on how to utilize it that I have since implemented myself because I use it almost every day, or one of the AI tools, But
You're so far ahead of me on this, Stacy. It's
you
crazy.
gotta jump on. You can't.
I know. I do. I just, you know what? Here's the good news. Our company is people in my business are definitely using this tool for efficiency and scheduling and, all that. Like, I know there's a lot of stuff that we're running through AI to help to solve things that would have been highly manual, but I will be listening with intent when we have them on next week to learn personally, because truly I don't, you know what? The majority of the work that I do, Stacy, is in front of people. So it's hard to AI
That's
that.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But there's a lot of work that's going on at my company that's not in front of people.
Yeah,
It's behind the
every
scenes.
company can implement some of these things. So
Yeah. The truth is I'm just not involved. People way smarter than me that work at our company are making those decisions.
yeah, but it's good to know.
It is good to know. I would like to know. And I'll probably get so many eye rolls when I come back to my team and I'm like, are we doing this? And they're
I
like,
know.
yeah, dude,
Oh God, I don't want
that.
to
Calm
stir
down.
up trouble over there.
Calm down, Grandpa. We're on it.
Right?
That's totally what I'll get. Awesome. Well, I look forward to that. And just one little reminder for the audience that while Stacy and I absolutely adore putting on the Morning Huddle construction show every single week, it's neither of our full-time job. Stacy runs a marketing company called Steel Toe Communications and can be found at steeltoecommunications.com. Is that correct, Stacy?
That is correct.
And Stacy can be reached at stacyh@steeltoecom.com.
Yep, you got it.
All right, I did it. And I run a strategy consulting business that works only with construction companies, and it's called Well Built Construction Consulting. It can be found at wellbuiltconsulting.com. You can reach through the contact us button there, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Those are great ways to be in contact with me. Stacy, I've had a lot of fun today.
Me too. I'll see you next week.
Let's do this thing. See ya.